Greetings adventurers, this is Kazu here, and I'm here today with another LEGO D&D video. This time it's going to be on Druid and the Druid Wildshape. As you can see here on screen, I have a variety of different beasts and animals that the Druid can Wildshape into, and we're going to be talking a little bit about those LEGO builds, as well as why I recommend you make these creatures, and how they're going to be great for any level of play as a Druid. So for those of you who are curious about an actual guide on wild shaping and want to know the most optimal choices for you to transform into as a Druid of the Circle of the Moon or any other circle, you can head on to RPGBOT.net. They have a practical guide to wild shape. I'm going to leave a link in the description below if you're curious on that, and you can click on that. Now, if we take a look at it, it is going to show you all of the animal forms by CR and give them a rating from red to blue based on how versatile and usable they are regardless of situation. So things that are red are just either niche or super terrible. Things that are orange are again very niche but occasionally useful. Green is pretty often useful, and blue is very, very useful in most scenarios. So if you're more curious on that, you can click on the link below in the description of the video. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Druids, wild shaping is the most iconic feature for the Druid that essentially allows you to turn into an animal of your choice up to a specific challenge rating. And this is going to depend on which subclass you choose for Druid. If you're Circle of the Moon, you'll start at CR1 and you can transform up to a CR6 creature at level 20. And then if you're all other subclasses, you're going to start out at CR1/4, and then you're going to be able to get up to a CR1 creature. So it's a lot more exciting if you're Circle of the Moon, which is focused on wild shaping, but still a very interesting and useful feature for other Druids of other subclasses. Now, as someone who uses LEGO for D&D, Wildshape is just another place where you can really enter with your creativity and make your own in-game creatures and animal builds to use for your Druid characters to Wildshape into, so that there's a physical representation of them in the battlefield or just in-game. That I think brings another level of excitement to playing D&D 5th edition. So I am going to be showcasing the animals and creatures that I use, and if some of these models are available on Bricklink and you can just buy them yourself, I'll try to include a link for that as well and show that on screen. So starting with challenge rating 0, we have the rat, spider, owl, and cat, all of which you can actually buy little models for through Bricklink or any other sort of LEGO purchasing site, and these are going to be excellent scouts for you as a Druid. You can turn into the rat, get into little hidey holes, you can turn into a spider or a cat, and you have a little climbing speed, and you're also pretty good at stealth. And lastly, you could turn into the owl to fly around and scout out for the team from a safe distance, although you are going to have to be challenge rating 8 to turn into an owl. So this is more for people that aren't Circle of the Moon, but all of these forms are great. They're very usable in game, and I highly recommend using them with LEGO. Next up is challenge rating 1/4. So up until level 3, this is going to be the maximum CR you can change into with Wildshape if you are not a Circle of the Moon Druid, and I highly recommend you guys go with the wolf form. Now you can use this with a husky dog Lego piece and represent that on the tabletop. It's a super adorable Lego piece. I love it so much. And the wolf form has pack tactics, which gives you advantage if you're attacking an enemy that's 5 feet within an ally, and then you can also knock down if you hit them with your bite. We also have the dinosaur raptor that can be used for the Velociraptor, which is very similar to the wolf, but slightly better. But that one is also very situational in the sense that your DM may or may not allow it, depending on whether they rule you being able to Wildshape into creatures you have seen before, which dinosaurs are unlikely that you've ever seen before. But that's going to be it for CR 1/4. So next up is challenge rating 1/2. Now this is going to be for any sort of non-Circle of the Moon Druid. You're going to be stuck with CR 1/2 from levels 4 to level 8, at which point level 8 you get CR1 creatures that are going to be much better. But for CR half, I recommend you choose the ape. So that has a multi-attack where you can attack twice with your fist, you can throw rocks, you could argue with your DM to manipulate and use equipment like a regular person with opposable thumbs could. And as you can see here, I have a really awesome model for the ape. I am going to leave a link and show you guys a regular monkey or other sort of creature you could use as a replacement for this, but I also kind of recommend that you make your own because it's just a fun model to have, and this is an example of one. And then next up is the Reef Shark. So once you hit level 4, you can change it to creatures that have a swim speed. Highly recommend the Reef Shark. You can't go wrong with pack tactics. It has water breathing and a pretty decently strong bite. You can use a generic shark model for the Reef Shark. They also have the Hammerhead Lego model as well that you can probably find on Bricklink or somewhere else if you really want to. But yeah, any shark will do, so pretty easy to get, and again, a very accessible and usable form for non-Circle of the Moon Druids. So next up is Challenge Rating 1, and this is where things get pretty spicy and exciting, because this is going to be what most druids can use if they're not Circle of the Moon, and if you are Circle of the Moon, this is what you're going to have access to almost pretty much from the get-go. So the main forms I recommend that I've made models for are the dire wolf, the brown bear, and the giant spider. Now, each one of these forms have their own situations where they excel and shine, but the dire wolf, again, is like a regular wolf with pack tactics and a bite that can knock down, but it's way stronger. We have the brown bear that has a multi-attack with bite and claws, so it's good at dealing multiple hits and fighting multiple enemies. And then last but not least, we have the giant spider, which has the versatility of being able to climb as well as spit web at enemies and kind of disable them or restrain their movements for a turn. So all of these I've made custom models for. You actually can make your own builds yourself, or you can buy kind of similar builds such as the Lego Worg and the Lego Bear pieces. Those might be a little bit pricey depending on where you look, but I definitely recommend trying to build these yourself because they're just really fun models to have. The bear is my favorite, absolutely love it. Took me like 2 or 3 hours to put together, and I did rebuild it a couple times, but I think it turned out pretty nicely. Let me know what you guys think, and if you do want any more information on these builds, I can try to give you better images as well. Now, I almost forgot to mention this, but of course, once you hit level 8 for druids, you get access to animals and creatures that have flying speeds with your Wildshape. And at that point, you can change into the giant vulture, which in my opinion is pretty much the best pick that you can have for a flying creature at CR1. It is superior to the eagle. It's a little bit slower, but it has the pack tactics ability as well as the multi-attack, and that's going to let it deal a lot more damage than the giant eagle does in terms of like DPR and whatnot. So highly recommend you guys make yourselves a giant vulture. I know this doesn't really look like a vulture. This is kind of a mix between an eagle and a vulture because I want to be able to use this in multiple scenarios. But overall, the model did turn out pretty decent, I think. And you guys can gain inspiration from it as well if you'd like. And then last but not least, we do have one CR3 creature. This is actually a monstrosity, so the Owlbear isn't something you can normally wild shape into, but you can always debate with your DM on whether or not they'll allow you to turn into an Owlbear, because it is a very iconic creature and it does have bear in its name. I don't really have any issue with players turning into an Owlbear. I think it's such a cool creature, so I did make a Lego model for myself. It looks really impressive from the front, I know, but then from the side it kind of looks depressing. I couldn't figure out a good design for the legs, and at the time I didn't have a lot of brown parts left, so I'm just sticking with this for now. But I do intend to make it look a little bit more bulky in terms of the rear end of the Owlbear. But yeah, that's pretty much going to sum it up for the video. Those are the best forms that you can have access to up until CR1, which is very relevant for all of early game, regardless of which type of druid you pick. And then, of course, if you're a non-Circle of the Moon druid, then you can only change it to up to a CR1 creature the entire time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy those recommendations. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about the builds featured in this video. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. I am going to be trying to make more Lego D&D content. I haven't uploaded a video in like a couple weeks. I've been busy with life, but I do plan on making a lot more content in the future to come. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.